Let me ask you a simple question. Why do two people with the same income end up in completely different financial realities? One struggles for decades, while the other quietly builds wealth. The answer is not luck. It's not intelligence. It's not even income. The real difference lies in how they think about money. As a teacher of finance and investment, I've spent years observing patterns, not just in markets, but in people. And what I can tell you with certainty is this. Rich people do not think about money the way most people do. Most people see money as something to spend. The rich see money as something to deploy. Most people ask, can I afford this? The rich ask, will this make me richer? This shift in thinking is subtle, but it changes everything. When you think like the rich, money stops being emotional. It becomes strategic. Every dollar has a job. Every expense is questioned. Every opportunity is evaluated based on long-term impact, not short-term pleasure. Poor and middle-class thinking is often focused on income. How much do I earn per month? How can I increase my salary? Rich thinking is focused on leverage. How can my money work when I'm not working? How can one decision multiply over time? This is why many people earn high incomes yet remain financially stressed. They upgraded their lifestyle, not their mindset. The rich, on the other hand, often live below their means, not because they are afraid to spend, but because they understand the power of delayed gratification. Money to the rich is not a reward. It is a tool. A hammer doesn't impress a carpenter. It's what he builds with it that matters. In the same way, rich individuals don't worship money. They respect it. They study it. They control it. In this series, I will teach you how to rewire your thinking, not with motivational nonsense, but with principles tested by time, markets, and reality. If you are willing to challenge what you've been taught about money, your financial future can change permanently. This is where the journey begins. Why the rich don't chase money, they build systems. As a finance and investment teacher, this is one of the most important lessons I can give you. The rich do not chase money. They build systems that attract it. Most people wake up every day asking, how can I make more money today? The rich ask a different question. What system can I build that keeps paying me tomorrow? This difference explains why so many hardworking people remain stuck. When income depends entirely on your time and energy, your financial growth is limited. Time is finite. Energy is finite, but systems are scalable. A system can be a business. A system can be an investment portfolio. A system can be intellectual property. A system can even be a simple habit repeated consistently. Poor thinking says, if I work harder, I'll earn more. Rich thinking says, if I work smarter once, I can earn repeatedly. This is why rich people value structure, processes, and automation. They don't want to make the same decision every day. They want decisions made once, then executed automatically. For example, instead of deciding every month whether to save or invest, the rich design systems where money is allocated the moment income arrives. Emotions are removed. Discipline becomes automatic. Chasing money is exhausting. Building systems is empowering. When you chase money, you are always reacting. Bills push you. Emergencies scare you. Desires tempt you. But when you build systems, you become proactive. Money starts following rules instead of impulses. This is also why the rich are patient. Systems take time to mature. Investments compound. Businesses grow slowly before they grow fast. The poor quit too early because they expect immediate rewards. The rich understand that delay is not denial, it is preparation. As your teacher, let me be clear, wealth is not created by one lucky moment. It is created by repeated correct decisions embedded into systems. In the next part, I will explain why the rich are obsessed with assets, and why most people unknowingly spend their lives buying liabilities, while believing they are progressing. How the rich buy time, not things. One of the clearest distinctions between the rich and everyone else is what they buy. Most people believe they are progressing financially because they are buying more things. A bigger house, a newer car, better gadgets. These purchases feel like success. But in reality, many of them quietly steal the most valuable resource you have: time. The rich think differently. They don't ask, how does this make me look? They ask, does this give me more freedom? As a finance teacher, I define an asset very simply. An asset puts money into your pocket and buys back your time. A liability, on the other hand, looks impressive but requires constant feeding, maintenance, debt payments, attention, stress. Poor and middle class thinking is consumption-driven. Money comes in, money goes out, lifestyle expands, pressure increases. Rich thinking is asset-driven. Money comes in, part of it is converted into assets, and those assets produce more money. This is why the rich are obsessed with ownership. They want to own businesses instead of just jobs, equity instead of just income, cash-flowing assets instead of depreciating items. While others celebrate spending, the rich celebrate acquisition of productive assets. Another key difference is patience. Assets rarely feel exciting at the beginning. Stocks don't look impressive. A small business doesn't attract applause. Rental income doesn't show up on social media. But over time, assets do something magical. They compound. Compounding is the silent engine of wealth. It rewards consistency, not intensity. The poor underestimate it because it is invisible at first. The rich trust it because they understand math and time. Buying assets is not about greed. It is about control. When your assets generate income, you gain choices. You can say no to bad opportunities. You can walk away from toxic environments. You can think long-term instead of surviving month to month. The rich don't buy things to feel rich. They buy assets to become free. In the next part, we will discuss one of the most misunderstood topics in money, debt. Why some people are destroyed by it, while others use it as a weapon to build massive wealth. How the rich use leverage? Debt is one of the most misunderstood tools in personal finance. For most people, debt is a trap. For the rich, debt is a lever. As a finance and investment teacher, I want to be very clear. Debt itself is not the problem. The problem is how and why it is used. Most people use debt to consume. The rich use debt to control and expand assets. Bad debt is simple. It is debt that buys things that lose value, does not generate income, requires your future labor to pay it off. Credit card debt, consumer loans, and lifestyle-driven installments fall into this category. They reduce freedom. They create stress. They lock you into working for yesterday's decisions. Good debt, on the other hand, is strategic. Good debt is used to acquire income-producing assets, increase returns through leverage, shift risk using other people's money. When used correctly, debt allows the rich to multiply opportunities without tying up all their own capital. This is why real estate investors, business owners, and corporations use debt aggressively but carefully. The poor fear debt because it has hurt them before. The rich respect debt because they understand cash flow. Here is the rule the rich live by. If the asset pays for the debt and still leaves profit, the debt works for you. If your salary pays for the debt, you work for it. This is also why the rich obsess over interest rates, terms, and structure. They negotiate. They refinance. They restructure. Debt is treated like a financial instrument, not a quick solution. Another crucial mindset difference is responsibility. The rich never confuse leverage with gambling. They run numbers. They stress test scenarios. They plan for downturns. This is why they survive crises that wipe others out. Used recklessly, debt magnifies mistakes. Used wisely, debt magnifies discipline. In your journey to thinking like the rich, you must stop seeing debt as good or bad emotionally. Instead, see it as efficient or inefficient. In the next part, we will explore why the rich focus obsessively on cash flow and why income alone is one of the weakest indicators of true wealth. One of the biggest financial illusions is the belief that a high income equals wealth. As a finance teacher, I have seen countless individuals earn impressive salaries while living in constant financial anxiety. The rich know a truth that most people miss. Income is what you earn. Cash flow is what you keep and control. Income can disappear overnight. A job can be lost. A business can fail. A contract can end. Cash flow, when built correctly, continues even when you step away. Most people organize their lives around payday. Bills are scheduled. Spending is planned. Saving is optional. This creates a fragile system. One disruption and everything collapses. The rich reverse the structure. First, they secure cash flow. Then they design their lifestyle around it. Cash flow means money arriving predictably, repeatedly, and independently of daily labor. This is why the rich prioritize dividends, rent, royalties, profit shares, and business distributions. Another difference lies in expenses. The poor focus on cutting small costs. The rich focus on increasing surplus. They ask, how can I widen the gap between inflow and outflow? This is not about being cheap. It is about being intentional. When cash flow exceeds living expenses, freedom begins. You are no longer forced to make decisions based on fear. You can invest patiently. You can wait for better opportunities. You can say no. Cash flow also creates resilience. During economic downturns, those with strong cash flow survive while high-income earners without reserves panic. The rich measure success differently. They don't ask, "How much do I earn?" They ask, "How long can I live without working?" That is the true definition of wealth. As your teacher, I encourage you to stop chasing higher income without structure. Focus instead on building stable, diversified cash flow streams. In the next part, we will dive into risk, why the rich seem comfortable taking it, and how they actually work hard to reduce it behind the scenes. How the rich protect capital? Most people believe the rich are risk takers. As a teacher of finance, I can tell you this is one of the biggest myths about wealth. The truth is the opposite. The rich are obsessed with reducing risk. What looks like boldness from the outside is usually careful, planning behind the scenes. Poor thinking avoids risk blindly. Rich thinking manages risk intelligently. The poor ask, "What if I lose money?" The rich ask, "How do I limit downside while keeping upside?" Risk is not eliminated. It is structured. This is why the rich diversify, not because they lack confidence, but because they respect uncertainty. They spread capital across assets, sectors, and strategies so that one failure does not destroy everything. Another key principle is margin of safety. The rich do not invest with thin buffers. They leave room for mistakes, downturns, and unexpected events. This discipline allows them to survive when markets turn against the impatient. They also separate emotion from decision-making. Fear and greed destroy more wealth than bad math. The rich rely on data, probabilities, and long-term trends, not headlines or hype. Losses are treated as tuition, not trauma. Poor thinking seeks certainty before acting. Rich thinking understands that certainty does not exist. What exists is probability and preparation. Capital protection comes first. Growth comes second. This order matters. Once capital is destroyed, recovery becomes exponentially harder. As your teacher, I want you to internalize this. You don't get rich by taking big risks. You stay rich by avoiding big mistakes. In the next part, we will explore time, why the rich are patient, how they use compounding, and why urgency is often the enemy of wealth. How the rich let money grow? If I had to name the most powerful advantage the rich have, it would not be money. As a finance teacher, I can confidently say the real advantage is time. The rich understand something most people ignore. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. Poor thinking is urgent. It wants results now. It wants fast profits, quick wins, and immediate validation. Rich thinking is patient. It understands that wealth grows slowly, then suddenly. Compounding is the force behind this patience. When money earns returns, and those returns earn returns, growth accelerates. At first, progress feels invisible. This is why most people quit early. They underestimate the later stages of compounding. The rich do not. They give their investments room to breathe. They avoid unnecessary trading. They resist emotional decisions. They allow time to do the heavy lifting. Another difference is horizon. The poor think in weeks or months. The rich think in decades. This long-term view changes everything, from investment choices to lifestyle decisions. Time also reduces risk. The longer your horizon, the more volatility smooths out. Short-term fluctuations matter less. Fundamentals matter more. As your teacher, I want you to stop asking, "How fast can I get rich?" Start asking, "How long can I stay invested correctly?" Wealth is not built by speed. It is built by consistency over time. In the next part, we will discuss identity, why the rich see themselves differently, and how your self-image silently controls your financial behavior. Why the rich think in ownership? Before wealth appears in bank accounts, it appears in identity. As a finance and investment teacher, I have learned that people do not rise above the image they have of themselves. The poor ask, "What do I do for money?" The rich ask, "What do I own?" This shift from worker identity to owner identity changes every financial decision. When you see yourself only as an employee, your focus is survival. When you see yourself as an owner, your focus becomes leverage, systems, and growth. The rich think in terms of equity. They want a piece of what produces value. This is why they seek shares, partnerships, and ownership stakes, even if the income is smaller at first. Identity also shapes discipline. The rich don't say, "I hope to invest." They say, "I am an investor." That single sentence changes behavior. Investors study. Investors wait. Investors protect capital. Investors act intentionally. Most people sabotage themselves because their actions conflict with their identity. They want wealth, but they identify as spenders. They want freedom, but they identify as consumers. As your teacher, I want you to understand this clearly. You will not out-earn your self-image. Change how you see yourself, and your decisions will follow. In the next part, we will explore lifestyle, why the rich control it early, and why lifestyle inflation is one of the most dangerous traps in personal finance. How the rich avoid the golden cage. One of the most dangerous financial traps is not poverty. As a finance teacher, I can tell you it is comfort without control. This trap is called the golden cage. When income increases, most people immediately upgrade their lifestyle. A better house, a nicer car, more expensive habits. On the surface, this looks like success. In reality, it often creates a new form of prison. The rich understand that lifestyle is a lever, not a reward. Poor thinking says, I earn more, so I deserve more. Rich thinking says, I earn more, so I invest more. Lifestyle inflation is subtle. It does not feel dangerous because it happens gradually. Each upgrade feels justified. But over time, fixed expenses grow, flexibility disappears, and financial pressure increases. No matter how high income becomes, the rich control lifestyle early, not because they are afraid to enjoy life, but because they value optionality. Low fixed costs create freedom. High fixed costs create dependency. This is why many wealthy individuals live simpler than expected. Their wealth is not visible because it is not consumed. It is stored in assets, businesses, and investments. The golden cage is comfortable, but it is fragile. One income disruption can collapse everything. The rich avoid this by keeping lifestyle below cash flow, not equal to it. As your teacher, let me say this clearly. A controlled lifestyle accelerates wealth faster than a high income. In the next part, we will discuss learning, why the rich never stop studying money, and why financial ignorance is one of the most expensive mistakes anyone can make. How the rich invest in knowledge. Wealth is not maintained by intelligence alone. As a finance and investment teacher, I can say with confidence that continuous learning is one of the strongest predictors of long-term financial success. The poor see education as something that ends with school. The rich see education as a lifelong process, especially when it comes to money. Markets evolve, technologies change, rules shift. Those who stop learning fall behind, no matter how successful they once were. This is why many fortunes disappear within one generation. The rich invest in books, mentors, advisors, and experience. They are not afraid to pay for insight because they understand leverage. One idea can be worth more than years of labor. Learning also protects capital. Financial ignorance leads to emotional decisions, scams, and herd behavior. Knowledge creates filters. It allows the rich to say no far more often than yes. Another difference is humility. The rich know they don't know everything. They seek expertise instead of pretending. Pride is expensive in finance. As your teacher, I want you to treat knowledge as an asset. Skills compound just like money. The more you learn, the better decisions you make. The better decisions you make, the more opportunities appear. In the next part, we will talk about environment, why who you listen to matters, and how social influence silently shapes financial destiny. Thinking about money like the rich is not about becoming greedy, aggressive, or obsessed with wealth. It is about becoming intentional, disciplined, and long-term oriented. From everything we've discussed, one message stands above the rest. Wealth is built first in the mind, then in behavior, and only later in numbers. The rich think in systems, not paychecks. They prioritize assets over appearances. They manage risk instead of fearing it. They respect time, control lifestyle, and never stop learning. Most importantly, they understand that money is a tool, not a goal. When used wisely, it buys freedom, choices, and peace of mind. As your teacher, my final advice is simple. Don't try to look rich. Don't rush results. Don't copy habits without understanding the mindset behind them. Start small, think long-term, and make consistent decisions aligned with ownership, cash flow, and growth. If you change how you think about money today, your financial future will eventually have no choice but to change as well. That is how the rich think.